Tak.
Hi everybody.
Hello everybody.
Today we're going to ask a question that Michael Landfield asked us. It's about pruning fruit trees and whether or not it's the right thing to do. So should I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, the first thing you've got to realise is that if you don't prune fruit trees, then they're going to take longer to fruit and they're going to grow up higher and some of the fruit will be inaccessible. So in some ways you kind of need to prune them if you want to get fruit quicker. But in terms of looking at things from the tree's perspective, I can well imagine that the tree is not so happy with us going in and cutting off healthy branches. So there's more than one side to this question, and I think it's not so clear cut as to what the answer is. Mm-hmm. Because if we don't prune and we have to wait for fruit, then obviously we have to get fruit from somewhere else, from somebody who is pruning and in a much more severe manner than we ever will. Maybe.
Yeah, and this is the problem, that we may try to be somehow thoughtful when we work with the plant, but the problem is, as Mango just said, we still have to buy things from outside, and I think nobody really treats the plants as we would like them to be treated. So once more again, to live in this world is not so easy if you want to be just and loving and true and truthful. So we have to compromise. And growing our own trees with pruning, I am double-minded in a way which is not very good, because I'm not 100% sure how the tree feels when I prune it. I know when I prune it, it doesn't die, it actually seems to benefit the tree because it makes more branches, more fruit, but again, it depends what I want. Do I want more amount of the fruit or better quality of fruit? And the tree itself. So if you plant seed and grow your tree and don't graft it, don't prune it, leave it as is, you will get fruit after a much longer time, but and less fruit, at least in the beginning especially, you will not have as good quality, I think, if you don't prune it. And if you prune it, it's opposite. The fruit tree won't fruit for so long time, so for so many years, that's another difference. So it just boils down to, and if you love to climb the trees, you know, it's convenience to involve in the pruning trees on that level. Yeah. So
I can relate a little story from a Japanese fella who's passed now. His name was Manasabu Fukuoka, and he wrote a book, a marvellous little book called The One Straw Revolution. And in that book he recounted parts of his own life story. And his father was growing an orchard full of orange trees. And since he was a little boy, Manasabu Fukuoka, he asked his father, why do you prune the trees every year? And the father's answer was, well, if we don't prune them, we won't get any fruit. Anyway, when his father passed, Manasabu decided that he would let the trees go and not prune them. And he stopped pruning the trees. And the following year, he hardly got any fruit, and then he didn't get any fruit at all. And he said, and this is what he writes in his book, that it took 20 years for the fruit to reappear on the trees. Now, I don't know if this is probably not the case for every single type of fruit.
yes,
He had orange trees. That's what he was talking about. And he said after 20 years, suddenly the trees started giving a lot more fruit than they had done before and a better quality.
Yes.
So that was something that takes patience. But as I said at the beginning, if you want to get fruit and you want to cause as least harm as possible, you are going to be causing less harm by pruning the trees and getting fruit like the following year than you are if you're going to be going into the markets or into the supermarkets and buying your fruit from them, because there's guaranteed there's going to be more harm done going that route.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the local farmers not always may be as thoughtful about what they're doing with their land or the plants. Yeah. So the world of the plants are very big. It's
mysterious.
Very mysterious. And if I can have one wish, I would love to be 20 again, have a piece of land, and I would grow fruit trees. I would experiment. I would grow ones from the seed, some of them which I would prune, some of them I wouldn't, and I would see for myself what they're doing. And as Mango said, it may be for each kind of fruit with different story.
It would be.
But I also remember this one story with the fruit tree. This family had a big old apple tree in their garden. And one day the mother said to her son, "Look, cut that tree down. Over 10 years it didn't bear any fruit. It's just taking the room in a garden, get rid of it." And the son said, "No worries." So he pruned the tree very heavily, get rid of the branches before he gets further with the tree. And the busy life and all that thing and circumstances, it wasn't so important to cut the rest yet. So it was left that way for a year. And after that year, the tree branched out and was covered with fruit.
I think that when we prune the fruit trees, we stress them. And I believe what could be happening, again, Curtis says she wishes it could be 20, one of her wishes. I wish that I could communicate more with the plants and ask them what's going on. But I believe that when they're being pruned, especially heavily pruned as most fruit farmers do, that they're stressing the trees out, and the tree is thinking in their own way, "Oh my goodness, I'm under attack. I've got to put fruit out there so my species can continue and the seed can be spread elsewhere." I don't know if that's the case, but I imagine so. When I am pruning a tree, I'm aware of what I'm doing and I don't feel good about it. I would recommend that if you've got enough land, that you put some fruit trees in the ground and leave them, and have some other ones that you prune because you want to get fruit from quicker, and wait on the other ones. Just be patient on the ones that you don't prune. Just leave them there and see what happens. And I think you'll find that some fruit trees can grow exceptionally tall. You'll probably find there's a lot of fruit up the top there which you won't be able to have access to when it eventually starts fruiting. But really, that's okay. That's kind of nature, and that gives the birds something to eat, and the possums that climb up there, and the rats or whatever that get up the tree. So you can't have access to it, but you're sharing what you've grown with them. And part of the problem with this world is that we don't have ancestors, even parents, grandparents, that have been wise in the way of fruit, that have planted lots of fruit trees everywhere for us to benefit from.
Well, I think something else, because I was born in Europe, where there was a lot of public fruit trees everywhere, even every road actually in the old days had a fruit trees along, most of them. And people used to walk from country to country in Europe, and you walk on this beautiful road And it's everywhere you've got is a fruit trees in the season. In the summer you can pick and eat, so you never get hungry, and it have a lot of good benefits because people travel much longer time than today, so they would have that in the summertime, in the season, all that food along their way. People was practical, but in the name of modernization and the name of supermarkets, all those trees, I used to climb as kid, even me eating out of them, they gone, they done. Also, when I was kid, every garden have a fruit tree. I would not see garden without fruit trees, but after the revolution came, when the capitalism came in and huge supermarkets, media said to people, I know this from my mom, cut your fruit trees, you don't need to grow fruit trees, it's hard work. Just put some nice ornamentals. You're going by now everything in a supermarket, even the fruit you can grow here, there's going to be plenty. And what do you think people done? Not everybody, but I would say from when I travel there and look into gardens, that's the one thing I always do, I see there is no fruit trees. There is different ornamentals, but no fruit trees. And this is what's happening. And not only that, fruit is going through very hard time, because when I was kid, everybody would tell you fruit is healthy for you. Today, this is different topic. I only want to say this. Today, the fruit is bad for you, okay? Not even healthy. So go and figure what is going on this line. So go back to fruit trees.
She's very right. There has been a systematic process of actually removing free food from the public. England, when I grew up, even it was in the 1960s, in the hedgerows, in the fields, there would be things to eat, hazelnuts and blackberries and things that were easy to forage and pick. And there has been a systematic cutting them out. They cut down hedges, they put in fences instead. And all these things have led to there being less food available for us that's free, and now we're reliant on supermarkets. But once more, I'm moving away from the topic of pruning fruit trees, and we just want to get back to the point really that if we lived in a more sane world, there would be fruit trees around that were old, and we would be able to pick from them and forage from them, but that isn't the case. So we're in a tricky situation where you move onto a spot of land, there isn't anything there at all. Possibly in the past, like our particular land has been used probably for tobacco farming in the past, so it's not the cleanest of land. So we have a lot of problems, and we have a lot of fruit trees. I think probably about 150 or so fruit trees that I've put in, and the truth is that many of them have not been very good about pruning, so some of them are getting quite big and not really giving much fruit. And Greta's always saying, oh, you should prune them, and I understand where she comes from that I should, but I'm kind of reluctant always to do, and some of the other trees have only been pruned minimally. But one thing that we do have, we weren't getting, I was hardly pruning the ackee trees. They weren't giving us anything for years, and we were looking, they're big. We were thinking they should be giving us fruit now. And this year, for the first time, the ackee tree has got loaded with fruit.
Yeah, and that took yonks. Yeah. But this is the thing, depends how much time you've got. Yeah. Well, I want to say I definitely have a problem to prune anything or even pull the weed out or anything like that. That's the truth, because I'm aware of the plants have a life, they have a feelings, they're just living creatures. And they have a senses, just we do. But also back to farmers, prune the trees too heavily, too aggressively every year, because they really only care about the crop, nothing else. Once they get everything out of the trees, they will just dig them all out and put the new ones. We can't compare this to farmers, because don't even look that way, because that's all wrong in there. I'm talking about gentle pruning on the beginning of the tree when it comes out, the one sprout, I cut it, make a crown, cut the crown, that's what I do. on the beginning if I do the trees, but I don't hardly do any trees. Mango is the fruit tree grower. So I leave it on him. Even if we do have a little disagreements, it's perfectly fine. I let him do it anyway as he wants, because it's his thing, and I just go along, and I'm happy either, because I'm open to anyway, as long as it's not too aggressive.
Yeah. So, well, I think we've answered the question for today. So we wish you all a pleasant weekend and pleasant coming week.
Yes. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope this video was somehow helpful to you, because I don't know, I feel really lost with this in a way, because I don't have a fully clear answer myself. Mango seems to be more clear about all this, but even what Mango's saying, as I want to say again, I'm not sure how it really is. I would also love to communicate more with plants. I'm using more my intuition than anything, but we love you, and please don't forget about love. Love is most important thing in our life. If you don't approach things with the love in your heart, you're going the wrong way. And all the best. And see you in the next video. Bye.